There's a house on your street with a tidy lawn and a 10-year-old sedan in the driveway that nobody looks at twice. The person who lives there is quietly worth more than everyone else on the block combined. You've driven past them 100 times and assumed the loud neighbor 3 doors down, the leased SUV, the watch she keeps mentioning, was the rich one. She isn't. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why the wealthiest people you know are the ones you never noticed. The more real money a person actually has, the less you can tell from the outside. The flashiest driveway on the street usually belongs to the deepest debt, and the plainest one. The boring car, the faded jacket, often belongs to the person with a 7-figure account nobody knows about. There is a name for this now, stealth wealth, and it is a decision the wealthy make on purpose. Social media rewards the flash, the unboxing, the vacation shot from a balcony. So when we finally meet someone with real wealth who shows us nothing at all, our brains file them under ordinary and move right along. As of 2026, there are roughly 24 million millionaires living in the United States, close to 1 in every 12 American adults, which means you already know several and have no idea because they went out of their way to make sure you couldn't tell. Ramsey Solutions surveyed more than 10,000 millionaires about how they actually live, and the results were almost boring. 57% use a grocery list every time they shop, 93% use coupons. A lot of them spend less than $200 a month eating out, and 62% went to a regular state or public university. Nearly 80% of American millionaires are first-generation rich. They did not inherit it. A separate Northwestern Mutual study found 79% said their net worth was self-made and only about 12% inherited any of it. 8 out of 10 built it the slow way, mostly by investing steadily in a workplace retirement plan and paying off a house. Teachers rank among the most common jobs on the list, along with engineers, accountants, and small business owners. Fidelity now counts more than 500,000 people whose workplace retirement account alone has crossed $1 million, a group that grew by more than a quarter in a single recent year. If 4 out of 5 millionaires built it themselves out of ordinary jobs, the quiet path is not a secret reserved for people born lucky. It is a set of choices repeated patiently over a long time that nearly anyone with a steady income can copy. Nowhere does this show up more clearly than in the driveway. The single most common car brand among American millionaires is Toyota at around 16%. Right behind it is Honda at 15%. And an Experian study found that 61% of households earning over $250,000 a year do not drive a luxury brand at all. For years, the founder of Amazon drove a Honda Accord. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people alive, still lives in the same modest Omaha house he bought back in 1958. For about $31,000, they could buy a fleet of supercars before breakfast and choose the boring car on purpose. So why does money get quieter the more of it you have? First, to the wealthy, showing off is a tax they refuse to pay. A luxury SUV that stickers at $70,000 starts losing value the second you drive it home. Compare that to a reliable car at $28,000 doing the exact same job. The $42,000 gap, invested in a simple index fund earning about 8% a year, grows into more than $420,000 over 30 years. That is the real price of the fancy car. Not $70,000, but something closer to $400,000. In future wealth quietly handed away to impress people at a stoplight. Even $500 a month, roughly the size of an average car payment, invested steadily at 8% becomes about $745,000 over 30 years. The flashy car also drags a whole ecosystem behind it. Higher insurance, premium fuel, pricier repairs, and every dollar spent looking rich is a dollar that can never make you rich. Second, loud spending is almost always a message aimed at other people. Look at me. I made it. The ones who need to send that message loudest are usually the least sure it's true. New money with something to prove buys the proof because it does not yet feel real on the inside. Real, settled wealth stops needing the applause. A retired shop teacher on your street, we'll call her Nicole, spent 40 years quietly filling her retirement account and never once felt the itch to prove anything to the neighbors. The person who has to tell you they're doing well usually isn't. The one who never brings it up often is. The thrill of a new toy also fades astonishingly fast. The excitement flattens out within weeks while the payment stays for years. And the wealthy figured out early that the calm from real security never wears off. This shift is old enough that scholars gave it names. Back in 1899, economist Thorstein Veblen coined the phrase conspicuous consumption, watching the wealthy of his day burn money on visible, useless luxury to broadcast status. But a researcher at USC named Elizabeth Currid Halkett studied decades of American spending data and found the elite had quietly switched strategies, calling the new game inconspicuous consumption in her 2017 work. Instead of flashing logos at the masses, the modern wealthy pour money into things you cannot see from the street. Elite education for their kids, the best doctors, and above all time, the quiet services that buy back their own hours. The real status symbol became not needing you to notice at all. There is also a simpler, more human reason. Looking rich paints a target on your back. The moment people believe you have money, friends start doing quiet math about what you owe them. And visible wealth turns you into a mark for scams and loans that never come back. Discretion protects the money and the relationships too. Because when nobody can tell what you have, people have to like you for something other than your wallet. And people notice your things far less than you imagine. Clocking the nicest car in the parking lot for about 4 seconds and forgetting it forever. The applause you're buying is faint, brief, and gone almost the instant it arrives. Here is what the quiet ones understood that the loud ones missed. The real luxury was never a car or a watch. It was freedom. A paid-off house, retirement accounts filled to the top, an emergency fund deep, enough that a lost job becomes an inconvenience instead of a catastrophe. What the wealthy are actually buying is the power to say no to a bad boss, to a deal that doesn't serve them, to a life they never chose. A nurse who later opened her own small clinic, we'll call her Deirdre, drove the same aging Camry for 15 years, while her co-workers upgraded their cars every couple of seasons and teased her about it constantly. Meanwhile, she was funneling the money they spent on payments into investments and a high-yield savings account paying as much as 4.5%, while the average American savings account pays a limp 0.38% on $50,000 parked in the right place. That is $2,250 a year working for her against about $190 for everyone else. She looked like she was falling behind. She was building an exit. Quiet wealth also tends to survive, while loud wealth tends to evaporate. America is in the middle of the biggest handoff of money in its history, with something close to $90 trillion expected to pass from older generations to their heirs over the coming decades. But a large share of family fortunes gets spent away within a generation or two, usually by heirs who learned how to look rich instead of how to stay rich. Now flip it around. If the truly wealthy are hiding it, who is doing all the flashing? Often it is people who cannot actually afford it. Around 8% of people earning under $100,000 a year still buy themselves a luxury car, stretching for a look they have not earned yet and paying interest for the privilege. That loud neighbor, we'll call her Renata, new truck every couple of years. The watch she keeps mentioning, vacations posted all over social media, looks like the richest person on the street. In reality, the truck is financed. The watch is on a payment plan, and her savings are nearly empty. The quiet person 3 doors down in the 10-year-old sedan could buy and sell her 10 times over without blinking. Comparison is the fastest way to go broke. The second you start measuring your life against the loudest people around you, you begin spending money you don't have to impress people who are not thinking about you at all, handing your dollars to a version of success that isn't even real. Real respect gets built on how you treat people and what you actually do, never on the badge stuck to the front of your car. Your wealth is not what you spend, it is what you manage to keep. Every status purchase you skip is a deposit into the version of your life where you never have to worrying about money again. Once you know the pattern, you start spotting these people everywhere. They drive something sensible and a little older and keep it until it dies. Money rarely comes up when they talk, and they get visibly uncomfortable when other people brag about it. Their home is comfortable rather than impressive, usually in a neighborhood one notch below what their bank account would actually allow. So how do you put this to work in your own life? Buy the reliable car, let it get old with a little pride, and invest the difference the flashier version would have cost you. Put your money into things that grow. Index funds, retirement accounts, a home you actually pay off. Automate the whole process so investing happens every month whether you feel motivated or not. Because willpower fails and systems don't. Keep your cash reserve somewhere that actually pays you. And when it shows up to prove something to people who honestly are not thinking about you. Remember what it truly costs. A moment of admiration from a stranger paid for with years of your own freedom. None of this means you can never enjoy your money. The quiet ones spend plenty on the things that genuinely matter to them. A good trip, a comfortable home, time with the people they love. The difference is that they spend on purpose, for themselves, rather than on autopilot for an audience. Which brings us back to that quiet house on your street, that tidy lawn, the unremarkable car. A person you never once gave a second thought to. They were not falling behind, they were miles ahead, and they simply chose not to announce it to anyone. The richer people get, the quieter they get, because they understand at last that wealth was never about being seen. It was about being free. Tell me in the comments, do you know one of these quiet millionaires? The person nobody suspected until you somehow found out the truth. Or have you caught yourself buying things to impress people you don't even really like? I read them, and the best conversations on this channel happen right there.